This is episode 198. It's like rushing a fraternity.
It's Two Drink Tuesday on the Tone Control.
We're back.
Oh my God, Derek! Let me tell you, we're a half an hour late getting started because of my family and me.
We're half hour late, but also 2 days early.
Oh, that's true. So we're like many hours early.
Yes.
So much has gone on in the last 15 minutes that I had completely forgotten that we are several days early. We're recording on a Tuesday, and I did not know how that was going to go, but the chat is populated, and that makes me very happy. Yeah. Tuesday is Tuesdays when my daughter has all of her dance classes. She's in like the dance academy now. So she has dance 2 days a week, and on Tuesdays she has dance for a super long time. She has modern dance and ballet, and we don't get her to bed till sometimes till 7:30. Which is later than usual. It's some people. Okay, so our kid has a bedtime. Okay, whatever. We're past that now. So
She's a kid with a bedtime. Get over it.
What's modern dance like? It's exactly like the gift. No, it's when they. I don't know that much about dance, but my kid fucking loves it anyway. And it's being that she's 6 years old. I don't know how soon I'm going to be able to tell if she's really good at it or not.
Sure.
But so far it seems like she might be brilliant at it. So who knows? So anyway, so we're like, okay, well, I'm going to be a little late. We're finishing up dinner and stuff. And then I come out here. I'd already pre-set up everything. And then Discord had an update that fucked my whole shit up. And I had to just Derek's over there entertaining everybody with random guitar riffs and nonsense conversation.
Yep.
While I try to find the terminal hack that you have to do to Mac OS to get Discord to listen to. And because I was hurrying through dinner, I basically chugged a giant glass of wine before I came out here. And I don't give a shit.
I want my second drink too. Let's go.
Okay, so this is Two Drink
Oh, look,
Tone
we got
Control.
matching koozies. Let's fucking do it, you guys.
So anyway, this is Two Drink Tone Control. We're recording on a Tuesday because the second half of this week, I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon to go to New England. I'm actually going to see Derek and Derek's first wife. But we're not planning on spending any of that time on tone control, so we decided we would knock this shit out on a Tuesday. So thank you all ever so much for joining us and hanging out with us in a moment of seriousness. We're going to New England to buy a car that you can't buy in Ohio because that's the world.
You want to hear a really funny story?
Yeah, do it.
I was telling somebody about this whole thing. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, so we got some friends coming out, and what brings them to town? It's like, well, they're buying a car in Vermont.
You won't believe
it. Yeah, and they were like, oh, I've heard of people doing this.
No shit.
And he's like, I've heard of people doing this. Are they buying some cool 1960s Italian sports car?
Yep.
And I was like, no, it's a 2021 RAV4. And the guy's
it's not a tax thing. We're getting taxed for Ohio tax, actually, even though we're buying it. We're buying it in Vermont, but not New Hampshire. But anyway.
Yeah.
Go on.
So he was just doubled down and doubled over how funny it was. Oh, I've heard of people do this. They search for a car and they drive to get it and stuff. And it's no, it's a brand new 2021 Toyota.
Yeah. Slightly different. It's a plug-in hybrid. The car market is a little bit nuts, like every market is nuts, and especially these high-tech cars. They don't have a lot of allotment, and the coastal states get the allotment before everybody else. Ohio apparently got 3 or 6 for the year.
Wow.
There's wait lists for these cars. But anyway, we locked one down. We're driving out to get it. And we're going to hang out. And
do a whole thing.
I've been out straight because we had to like prep all this stuff. I have to like get money out and
like the whole buying a car detail. Yeah.
I'm prepping this car because we're going to trade in the car at the same time. We're going to drive the car there, trade it in, and we're prepping like CarMax, Carvana, Blue Book. We're getting all the offers, and there's a place right in Manchester where we could trade it in. Like if this place tries to screw us on the value of the car, I wanted to make sure that I literally could walk away because otherwise I have no leverage, right, in the used car negotiation. So I'm like, okay, I have to literally be able to walk away and still get what I want out of the car. So we prepped all that as well. And I was
there is a CarMax in Manchester.
That's exactly the one I'm thinking of.
It's right down the road. So wow, it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to go well.
But I think we're all set. I have a little bit of work to take care of in the morning. That's going to be a bit of a scramble, and then I'm dropping the girls off to school in the morning so that they don't have a car there, and then I'm going to pick Marielle up. The kiddos taken care of between all the grandparents. The kiddos and the dogs are all sorted. And
good
is it? We're going to come back with a car that has all the fanciness, and also we're going to see a show in New York.
Yeah,
and it's going to be. We decided to make a fucking trip out of it. Damn.
Yeah, make a fucking trip out of it. So, I have a hybrid, not a plug-in hybrid, but I have a hybrid Toyota. And there's two. I'm not a stickers on cars person.
Yeah.
But there are two stickers that I'm really seriously considering. One or both. I'm not really sure. One is, "Hey cool," quote, "Hey cool hybrid," end quote, said by no one ever.
Yeah.
And the other is, "Just pass me already, I'm flooring it."
Well, it's funny because I'm talking about this with some friends in the Discord for the other podcast that I'm on, and there's a lot of people from I have found, like, obviously the Tone Control has people from around the world, but there's a lot of New England focus because that's where we started and so on. The other Discord, much more spread out around the country. For one thing, that podcast started from a guy in Texas. So there's a lot of like all over, and we definitely get more of the like the capital A American sort of perspective. And so I'm like this car, and immediately they're coming back at, like, I'm going to get this, doing this thing this weekend. They're coming back at me with this like, "Oh, I bet it's this fancy schmancy liberal garbage car. Am I right, buddy?" And I'm like, first of all, you can't goad me. Second of all, if you want the torque, you go electric.
Oh, 1,000%. So like that's the thing about that sticker.
If you guys want to feel the car drive, fucking get an electric car.
Yeah, so that's the thing about the "just pass me, I'm flooring it." Like, it's funny, but it's not how it works, because like
nothing to do with reality.
No, we put our car, like, it's got the like eco and then sport. You put it in sport mode, that thing is quick.
There was
it
a
is
whole
right
joke
off the line. It's awesome.
On Silicon Valley, when one of the characters, like, he's desperate to get a Tesla. He feels like he's arrived once he can. So he gets the Tesla so he can put it on insane mode. And I don't actually know if that's a joke for the show or if that's a real.
No, it has a ludicrous mode. Like, I think it's called. And I think they also have like an unspoken. There's like a plaid mode, like from Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Yeah. So like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the thing, you pull it wide open, it's just pure torque. And it's like I said to those guys on that show, like, or not, we're just chatting. Gas engines sound cool. Yeah. And hydrocarbons store a lot of energy per weight, but the conversion is extremely efficient. You really want to put that energy into movement of a car, electric motor.
This is the analog versus digital argument for the automotive world, right? This is the Helix. So? This is the Kemper versus the tube amp, right?
I love how you've brought this back around.
Yeah, we're talking guitars, folks. Guess what?
All right, here's what's going to happen now.
Thanks to Pedal Genie for sponsoring the Tone Control. Visit pedalgenie.com and start your wish list today.
Do it.
That's it. So, this is a podcast about guitars and also whatever random other shit we feel
Whatever
like
the hell
talking
else
about.
I want to talk about because it's my platform, damn it.
It is, but ever the stalwart sponsor, Tone. I was just about to say the name of our show, like sponsor ourselves. It's going to be a great one this particular Tuesday, everybody. So, anyway, thanks, Pedal Genie. You've been with us ever so long. We ought to talk to Tony again sometime.
Yeah. Also, I got a quick update. I guess I was talking to Alex over at Copper Sound today.
Oh yeah.
Today, say the 28th. It is today. 1 year ago today, the Triple Graph came out. Mm-hmm. And 1 year ago today, we did that cool release. We had the bonus episode and like the fancy third man tone control graphic and stuff. Yeah, it was so fun. And it's hard to believe it's been a year. But what a hell of a thing. And they're just selling them like crazy pants now.
Yeah.
They're in a bunch of different stores. They're not just from Third Man anymore, which is great. You can get them overseas. You can get them everywhere. So they're in stock. They're shippable. They're everywhere. I think this is, I don't know if I can't say this, Alex, I'm sorry. He texted me a minute ago saying that our local music shop, Manchester Music Mill, is now going to be carrying Copper Sound.
Why wouldn't you be able to say that?
I don't know. I just,
all right, make sure he tells us before Monday.
He texted,
I mean, for some reason.
So we were messaging about this Triple Graph thing, and he's like, "Hey, would you guys want to talk about this?" And I was like, "Yes, we're actually recording tomorrow, 1 year from the Triple Graph." He's like, "No, it's too short notice. We can't do it." So we're gonna try to get him on. Yeah, we're gonna try to have him and Jordan on again soon. Maybe even next time for 199. We'll see.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun just because we're right in that zone. So
yeah,
because I do have some questions about that whole thing, how the last year has been, even just like from a business perspective. I'm curious how that goes because that put them in front of a lot of eyeballs. So
yeah,
that's cool.
And I was about to say last time, but every time I've chatted with them, we weren't doing video when this happened before. That's
true.
But like when you chat with the folks at Copper Sound, we're in Alex's garage.
Yeah.
So I start to wonder, like, when you have to, well, I'm not sure exactly how much ramping up would happen, or if it's just refocusing, right? Spending more time putting these together or versus some of the other things.
Well,
but
they're still making all the other pedals.
Yeah. So it has to be a ramp up. It has to be a massive ramp up.
He did make a post recently about some of the guys he's got helping in the shop. It looks like they've got some people working for them, which is rad, not just like
there you go.
The startup crew that's been going for a few years. So I'm excited for that. I do have questions. I have an idea, like for like a triple graph light, I guess, or a monograph. I don't even know what you'd call it.
Well, wait, isn't that the telegraph? Let's be clear.
Well, no, but like with the octave function. So I was thinking, like, how cool would it be? And he's going to hear this. And I'm just going to tell him again.
And you trickle down the advancements, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's a single unit, a single stomp, and it's got a mini toggle switch for up octave or down octave. And that's it. It's like a diet version and maybe a toggle for like dry through or something like that. No effects loop, no kill switch, nothing like that. But I think that would be really cool. Like a singular sized, triple graph light.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. It's not happening.
For custom
if it is, it was his idea and definitely not mine.
Okay.
So anyway,
speaking of what's coming up in future episodes, we're not going to stop mentioning it until it doesn't bear mentioning anymore, which is a fun and weird sentence. For episode 200, we're opening up the Discord to all members of what am I talking about, Derek?
You said it right. Opening up the Discord to all members.
Well, the Discord's open.
I see.
We're opening
I just
up
tripped up in the same spot you did.
We're opening up the tone control live recording to the full Discord, not just supporter plus or what is it now? The Royal We. The Royal We, which is anyone who is a Patreon supporter of $2 per month or more. And so we're gonna have this like it's like amnesty night, right? It's like it's like freebie. It's Amazon Prime Day.
It's like rushing a fraternity, right?
Yeah, but
right, you're coming in and you're seeing what it's all about.
Hazing, not no hazing, less hazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of promise less anyway.
And we're working on a cool thing for that episode. So hopefully it works out.
Hopefully it works out. Yeah. Derek's been working very hard behind the scenes to put together something that it will be more than simply an ordinary tone control episode. And it will be more than this unordinary tone control episode, which is to say 2 Drink Tuesday, which already is going really well. The number of verbal mistakes through the roof. And I don't see it coming back down. So I think
charts.
we're just on for it. So anyway, make sure to join the Discord before episode 200. Everybody's welcome and get a taste of what's going on in there. Also, we're planning on sending out special gifts to all of our patrons. So if you are a patron or planning to become a patron before episode 200, please get in there. And at this point, it asks for your address. That is so that we can mail you stuff. If you were a patron from before, you need to make sure we have your address somehow, either through Patreon or just send it to us or something. We are not going to do anything weird. We are just going to mail you a special gift. It is not toxic or dangerous in any way.
It is not a glitter bomb.
It is not, yeah. It's not even fun toxic. It's just fun.
Yeah. And also, I'm getting the sense that maybe some folks aren't hearing this or maybe a little busy and stuff. I have some messages out to people asking for addresses, and I'm not getting messages back, which, like, but that's not to say, like, this is your only shot. So send us your info. We want to send you a cool thing as a thank you for your support of the show. And freaking 200, man. It's a lot.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about some guitar stuff?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to play a sound.
We're in this phase where I'm like remembering. I can identify doing that, but I can't tell you what it is. I don't know why. And that sounds like some kind of phasey thing, but also maybe not. Is it?
It's not a phasey thing.
No? Okay. I don't know, man. Because the thing is, the list of Pedal Genie pedals is so long now that we've tried. I'm forgetting what I've had. I'm forgetting.
It's Sean's. It's Sean's.
Is it really?
Yeah. That's Canaglia.
Canalia. Jesus.
Canalia?
That's right.
Is that how you say that?
That's how I've heard it said. I don't know if that's right.
I for real, like, I thought I spelled it wrong and I had to go look it up because I was like, I thought it was Cagnalia.
Can you play that again? I want to hear that again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it sounds like there's a spring reverb in
must
it
have been
as
the
well.
Modulation on the repeat, yeah.
Yeah. But
that was a great pedal. That was one of the early. Was that the first live stream? I think it might have been.
Might have been.
Yeah. It's so weird how these pedals used to stick in my mind as like, that's the blank. That I did that one. That's this demo. And now for some reason they don't. Maybe it's just because I'm like kind of burning the candle at both ends right now and I'm forgetting stuff. But what a killer tone.
Yeah. Wild. All right. Great job, Sean at Lollygagger Effects. Okay, so first up, the most hated word in words is now a pedal. I don't get it, Derek. Tell me about this.
So my bullet point says, if I'm being honest, I just put this here because of the name. It's the Joyo JF20 Moist Reverb. If you're a person that has a problem with the word moist, you might want to fast forward.
You were going to say. Yeah,
you might want to skip ahead.
If you're watching the YouTube version, or if you're not watching the YouTube version, then a bonus. If you skip over to YouTube, you'll find that we put in little timer markers, so you can jump straight past this whole section if you don't want to hear the word moist again. Anywho.
So I'm not a person that struggles with the word moist. Are you?
Oh, me either.
Okay.
No. Hence, moist, is that the one?
Moist? Yeah,
moist.
I think however, let's be real, it is not a great word to name a pedal.
Well, it's a reverb though. Reverbs are wet.
We talk about the wetness of reverb. Yeah, but that
Yeah, it's
doesn't
boring.
feel as gross as calling your reverb moist. You know?
I think this is an example of this is finding your niche, right? So they say like don't try to appeal to everybody because then you strongly appeal to no one. So what they're doing with this pedal is they're saying fuck you everybody who is really bothered by that word moist. This pedal's for everybody else, and everybody else, it's like, oh, we're speaking the language now. We together, this pedal and I, we can say the word moist and nobody cringes.
Right. Someone can be like, hey, that's a great reverb tone. What do you got there? Moist.
Moist. Jesus.
Moistness. Your tone is very moist.
Wait, it's after wet? No, wait, before wet and humidity. What does that mean? Wait, I want to know what's going on in chat.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Post-wet.
This is exciting.
This is post-wet is gross.
The tone is so moist. Okay.
So here's the deal.
So what about this pedal besides its name?
It looks like a pretty solid reverb. I think that's kind of it, really. It's got 3 sounds, church, plate, and studio, and it's 32-bit DSP, and that's kind of the bullet points on it. That's kind of what they're selling it about. Joyo has not put a price on this, at least as far as me putting it on our notes sheet. But they're pretty affordable pedals. I'm really guessing this will be...
I just saw clean and moist.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be under $100. They
nice.
are extremely budget, and they're pretty good, everything that I've heard. So
yeah.
Matt, the other guitarist in Delaney, plays a Joyo phaser, like a Phase 90 thing, and they're like $35. And it sounds really pretty dang good. So you can't really, if you're on the budget side of things, don't sleep on Joyo. Like they've kind of got it figured out as far as that stuff's concerned. Also go buy the moist.
Yeah, I mean... So, I mean, that's good too, because reverb is an effect that tends to have a lot of self-noise.
It can, yeah.
So if you're talking like 32-bit that's going to be helpful. That's going to allow them to push the noise floor lower, at least in the processing. And with cheap electronics tend to be noisier. So, you know, hopefully this will help with some of that. So when they say clean and moist, I think we're in the right zone, and that's exciting.
It's got 3 controls: decay, tone, and mix, and then a little toggle switch for the different reverb types. It's kind of a regular stomp box shape. It's nothing crazy. I think it's cool. If you need a simple reverb, get moist.
Fucking A, man. That was it. Oh, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. He's done it.
Goodness.
It's
looking at the chat, I'm learning that maybe Meoward Stern has a problem with the word moist. So let's say it a few more times.
Moist.
Moist. Moist.
So here's what I
moist.
Here's what I've just realized. Because of the type of microphone I'm using compared to the type of microphone that you're using, the Electro Voice RE20 and the RE320, which I use them both sometimes, they are variable D microphones, which means they're designed in such a way that they actually don't have a proximity effect, even though they are a dynamic designed to be addressed very closely like this. And so when I jump right on it, I'm not getting the massive bass power out of my voice that you are when you say moist.
Moist.
So that's the one. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah. And now, so I have to just let you take that.
Okay. I just want to make a comment about the term variable D.
Yeah,
that's
go on.
That's all. Just want to throw it out there. Yep. Moist.
Moist. So
get moist,
nerds. So guess what? Hey, guess what? We're gonna because this episode is so much fun. We're gonna jump right into the Genie. I think, aren't we?
Yeah.
Aren't we? Shit, it's gonna happen. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Pedal Genie is like the Netflix of guitar pedals. Rent any pedal you want for as long as you want for one low monthly price. Shipping is included and there are no late fees or time limits. With over 1,500 pedals to try from nearly 100 different manufacturers, Pedal Genie definitely has the gear you want to try. Subscriptions start with Flex at just $19.95 a month. Try out one pedal at a time for as long as you want. Send it back when you're ready for the next one. For only $39.95 a month, the standard subscription includes shipping, so you could have a different pedal every few days. If one isn't enough for you, Pedal Genie Pro gets you 3 pedals at a time for only $64.95 a month. Shipping included. There's a subscription for everyone, and best of all, your first month is free. If you find the pedal of your dreams, the one you just have to keep, Pedal Genie will offer you a buyout option. Prices vary with the length of your membership and the type of pedal, but you'll definitely get an awesome price for the pedal in your hand. So head to pedalgenie.com to fill up your wish list with pedals, and they'll send out your first pedal ASAP. Pedal Genie, all your pedal wishes granted.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Pedal Genie.
You know, I'm just realizing that I've got like, it's been years now since I've played in a band and performed on stage. And I've got like stage adrenaline right now. Something about the way I had to rush into this show, and maybe the fact that it's 2 Drink Tuesday. I've got
You
like
feeling moist? Sorry.
a little moist. You know, it's like it's taking me back to a little bit of that. Like I have that. Oh my God, we're hanging by the edge of a thread, and anything could go wrong at any time. At the same time, I'm almost on autopilot. Like I just like, oh, like I haven't tuned that guitar today, and just.
Yeah,
and
there's a little.
And my hand was doing it on its own. Like I wasn't thinking, what should I do? It was tuning the guitar, and yeah.
There's that pre-show thing. Like it's not jitters necessarily, but there's like an energy that you're just sort of on.
Yeah.
And
my guitar
and
stands too far away. Hold on.
I think on the 9th when we have this show, that's going to be like the big blowout Delaney show. I'm going to be on fire the whole day, like just because we're planning the whole thing and running the whole thing too. So it's going to be. Have I told you about this? It's like a total DIY thing. Okay, we're running this show completely DIY in a barn out in the woods.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So this guy that Matt knows, an old coworker of his, has this big piece of property, and there's a cool old barn on the property that's been sort of retrofitted, I guess. It's been updated to like have power and is like a venue, but it's not a business. It's just part of his property, right?
It's just a thing that could be a venue. It's
a thing that could be a venue, but he's not like doing it like as a side hustle or anything like that. So it's there. It's at this, the barn at 251, they're calling it. And he's done like weddings and stuff for friends and family. He's done stuff for the town. Like, hey, we live across the street and our daughter's getting married. Can we do it in your barn? Oh, sure. So it's that kind of thing. And they've done some shows. So we're doing a show at this barn and everything's got to come in. So everything from PA, lights, merch tables and stands, all that stuff. It's a BYOB. And we're providing coolers and ice and stuff. It's I cannot tell you how hard it has been to find a porta potty because we need a porta potty for this. Like legally speaking, we've had to get insurance. It's bonkers. It's going to be awesome. So we've got 3 bands.
Bring your own bass in.
Seriously though, so I sent out an email today about gear sharing. And pro tip, one of the nice things about Helix is that you don't have to share gear with other bands.
You don't have to touch their dirty fucking gear.
But we're playing with 2 other bands.
This knob is sticky.
Yeah, and it's the angle of the show is like a album or music release show for bands that put stuff out in 2020 when everything was really closed down and live music wasn't happening. So this is our EP release show a full 18 months later. And then we're playing with a band called Paper Monsters, who I think you would really, really jive with. I think you should check them out.
Do you mean that they're total nerds?
Sort of, but so the singer, their full band setup is acoustic guitar and vocals, drums, and a cello. And the guitarist singer is Matt, who did Matt, who was the engineer for our EP. So, and he runs the studio and stuff. From Revelry.
Revelry. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of the studio.
And then, so they have such a cool sound. No one's doing what they're doing, and I'm really into it. So we're playing with them, and then we're also playing with another local band called Promise Game, who just put out a new track. and a music video. So we're doing a bunch of stuff. I got these video promos, and we've got it's going to be nuts. I'm really looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And actually, I just remembered my in-ears are here on my desk, and I need to not forget them for band practice tomorrow night. So they're going over, sitting on top of my keyboard so I don't forget. Anyway.
Put them on your doorknob.
Okay. Back to Pedal Genie.
Back to Pedal Genie. So who do you...
I'm set up here. You want me to go?
You're set up. Yeah. So let's see. You had... Oops, that's not it. Why is that tab even open? What the hell? I don't think I opened yours. Hold on. I can do this.
Oh, excuse me. You all hear my guitar?
Okay, here. Here
we go.
You. Okay, broadcast.
So here's the thing.
Switch.
Yeah, so Hudson Electronics makes a pedal called the Broadcast. They make a few variants of it. The original was a single foot switch that had like a toggle on the top that would do like a mini toggle switch that would do high gain or low gain. And with this version, they've taken that switch and put it on a foot switch, which I think is the superior design. So you've got like a built-in boost within the pedal itself. Great idea.
Right. Okay. Functional.
Yeah, really. It's great. So it's based on old recording consoles, like broadcast consoles and stuff. And I thought that meant it was going to sound kind of like that direct to board sound, like the color box, for example.
The color box bullshit.
You know, people are really into Hudson and really into the broadcast. So I'm about to find out, I guess, like, is it really one of those direct to console things? And truthfully, it's more like a germanium. It says germanium preamplifier. It's a preamp style overdrive. So It's not a preamp. It's not that direct to console thing, really. It's like a preamp circuit based on the overdrive tone of that thing. And it sounds killer. It sounds so good, Justin. I can't even tell you.
My take on this is it's sort of in the spirit of the JHS color box, but they didn't do the dumb thing of trying to actually emulate exactly that sound. They just took the spirit of what was going on there and then made a good drive out of it instead.
Yeah. So it's, I have not issue, but I do kind of wonder about the term preamp because it's not a preamp. You can't replace your tube amp preamp with this thing in that sense. So it's a preamp style overdrive. It's, kind of giving you the tone of, anyway. So I just posted a couple of pictures in the chat of the one I have here, including the internals, which are hand wired. Very cool.
Oh, nice.
And also look at these knobs. They're called Marconi knobs, I learned, and they look wild. It's so cool. There's such a great vibe for this thing. The plate on it is like a milled aluminum, or it's milled
like
something.
Bakelite? What's Bakelite?
Bakelite is an old type of plastic.
Yeah, is actually, that not what this knob is?
I don't have it on this guitar. I don't know if they're actually made of Bakelite, but they're in that kind of style for sure. That retro style. Very cool. So anyway, here's my rather anemic clean tone.
We're about to juice it, bitches.
So across the top, we've got low cut gain trim, which is, as far as I can tell, effectively the gain control, and then level low and level high, which is purely output volume. Okay,
between the two outputs, right?
Right. So here we go. Low gain.
I see a couple of trim screws inside there too.
Yeah. So I'll get to that in a second.
Okay. Super.
So I've got the low cut at noon. I'll do the gain at noon also, and the level is just a little like say 1 o'clock. So to introduce some more lows back in. My guitar needs a setup. High gain mode.
Yeah, so that's a very different personality. I feel like I like the other mode better, but You could definitely see where both could be very cool.
So that's what the gain, pretty modest. It's a halfway up. So I'll go pump that up a little bit and then just turn the low cut a little bit more, give it a little extra something. It's got a lot of guts.
Yeah. And it's thick on the bottom too, which is nice.
Yeah, and what's nice is that the low cut control makes it really, really versatile for tons of different guitars. So this is my pink telly, and it's very jangly and twangy, and again, lots of high-end information in this.
And pretty low output.
Yeah, so I can take the low cut and bring that all the way counterclockwise and make sure there's a lot more low information passing through the pedal.
Getting good reviews in the chat.
Yeah, so I was okay, here's the story. I got this pedal from Pedal Genie, and I was like, great, I've been looking forward to trying this. Plugged it into I have an orange Micro Terror here in my office with a 112 cab. Plugged it into that. It sounded killer. So good. I was like, oh, if it makes this little rinky-dink rig sound cool, like I can't wait to hear it through my AC30. And I'm really curious how something like this interfaces with Helix type stuff and stacks with other drives and whatever. So bring it downstairs, plug it into the AC30, and it is not happening. Something about it was like really not, I did not care for it. I was really disappointed. So I'm reading the website and I see that there's the internal trimmers to adjust the gain range on the gain trim knob on the outside.
Right.
So I open it up and start dialing those down. And I don't know if this is stock from the factory or if whoever had it from Pedal Genie before me did this, but those two trim pots were maxed out. So I brought them way down. Like they're both around 50% now, which gives the gain trim knob, I think, a much more usable range.
Mm-hmm. You were outside. You were into flub territory.
It was it was flubby. It was doing like a cool, it was like fuzzy and cool, but it wasn't what I wanted from something like this.
Sure.
And it was doing that like oversaturated, like the circuit just gives up and it kind of ducks out sort of thing. But bringing the trimmers down helped a ton. And I'm way more into how it sounds with how it's currently set up. And if I were to own this, I would continue to tweak that internal a little bit. So I was really into it. And I emailed Pedal Genie about a buyout price just because these are a little hard to find sometimes. I think they're generally in stock at the moment. But I know people sometimes find them difficult to obtain. So it's like, oh, this is a really good one, guys. And it sounds really good with the Helix and sounds really good with the tube amp. And unfortunately, the used price, or the member price, I should say, from Pedal Genie is not really where I want it to be. So I'm probably going to pass on it. But it's solid. It's really airtight. Like if
they know what they've got.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's kind of like, if I hadn't bought the 1981 this year, maybe I would do it. It's kind of in that range as far as price.
You've already done this. I got a new cool drive business going on.
Exactly.
So I wanted to highlight so on this picture here, right below the transformer, I don't know if this is going to show up well enough, but so it says like Stripboard Rev 1, copyright 2019. So this is a straight up breadboard. I mean, this isn't a PCB that they made, but they are running them off enough because it's got the socket there for the transformer, and pretty much everything else looks like it's simple breadboard. Although I see for the LED they do have plated holes. So it's funny that they're breadboarding, but they made a custom breadboard. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah,
so anyway.
And the wiring, it's not a mess, but I opened it and I was like, oh. Look at this. I forgot they were hand wired, and it's very obviously not just all. You can see
where they're. Oh, I'll bend this one over this way, and I'll twist this pair. Yeah.
So I really love how it sounds. I'm going to do a live stream on this after our trip this weekend. But I gotta say, this thing sounds really, really, really good with the 1981.
See?
Really, really good. So the 1981, I've been experimenting more with the lower gain stuff, which like everyone kind of gets to with that pedal eventually.
Right.
That plus this thing is so cool. It's just so good. So
It's the layers, man. It's the layers.
Yeah. Anyway, check out the broadcast. I think new they're going for about $285. So it's not nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm very happy with it.
Super. Well, I've got a weirdo. I haven't listened to it yet, so we're about to find out. Maybe I'll have another dud. Oh, by the way, last episode I had a mechanical problem with that pedal.
Oh, right. Yeah, I meant to ask you about that.
I messaged the Genie about it before I sent it back, and they said that somebody else had mentioned having a problem with that particular unit as well, but they weren't able to reproduce it. I do feel like it could be an intermittent thing because it sounds like when your guitar cable's not plugged in, you're like tapping your thumb on it. That's what it sounds like. So it's possible something in there isn't totally connected, but it's intermittent. So every time we ship it, it might connect or not connect, and who knows.
Sure, could be a jack or something that's
but
loose.
now they've got more than one report, so they can probably send it back to them. Anyway. Okay, so what am I doing here? Okay, so here's my thing.
I like the look of this just right out of the gate.
Well, I mean, it's a classic pedal look, isn't it?
Yeah. Like the knobs, like the color.
So this is the Monkey Man from J-Rocket Audio Designs. It's not being made anymore.
Dang it.
Yeah, dang it. Oh, by the way, I found this in my driveway today.
What is that?
It is a guitar pick that says Music City, USA, and it says Nashville on the other side.
Cool.
I was walking the dogs this morning. I came back and I was like, is there a fucking guitar pick in my what the fuck?
I found a...
And, like when you do a guitar... let me tell you, when you do a guitar podcast and you find a guitar pick in your driveway, you think somebody's trying to tell you something.
Oh, it's like sending a message.
Around here, like, what? I looked around, I found it, and it's like 8:30. It's like 8 in the morning or something. I'm looking.
Yeah, somebody
around,
lurking in the bushes,
asshole.
flicking guitar picks into your driveway.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I just got distracted because I picked up this pick. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I found a Jim Dunlop guitar pick in my car.
Finally.
Not what I play, just for the record.
What,
wait, so funny. It's like, I found it.
It's not the jazz.
No, I'm sorry. It's not. It's like a regular. Just a regular nylon guitar pick.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not from me. Is it the white one?
No, this is the Tortex Jazz 3s. This is what I am playing, but or one of the ones I'm playing. This is my desk pick.
I have this one. Do you remember this?
The yellow one. Yeah, I've got some of those around. Those are the Ultex.
This is literally the one you gave me.
They're
How many
so good.
years ago? I still have this.
It was your old house. Yeah.
Once it fell on the carpet in my old house.
God, they're so hard to see.
And 2 days later, I found this son of a bitch, and it moved with me. Anyway, I'm gonna play Nashville because I found it in my driveway this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so this pedal, to get back to business, let me find my pedal window here. So this is the Monkey Man. It is discontinued. However, it seems to be available for between $130 and $180 on Reverb.
Okay.
It is from J-Rocket Audio Designs. It is a tweed pedal, I guess. So so the controls we have here are volume, speaker breakup, and spring reverb.
Interesting.
So
it's like a Tweed Deluxe, including the reverb. I thought it was just a reverb for a second.
So this is like something that's supposed to make my shit sound like a Tweed, but
I wonder if it's going to do that like
it's
Neil
not
Young,
just a drive. It seems like
Tweed about to explode. Kind
of. Do you think that's clean enough to feed it?
Yeah.
So I'm using like as clean as I can get out of this angle because that's about the cleanest amp I have right now. So anyway.
Uh-oh.
Are you kidding me?
That's not as bad as last time.
No, but it's an indictment of my guitar, isn't it? I swear I tried other pedals and didn't get this buzz last time though. All right, hold on. Now we gotta, because I told Pedal Genie that there was something wrong with your pedal.
Yeah.
So hold on a second.
That's an interesting sound, though. The reverb built into that drive is kind of cool. I'm curious if it's going to be at all like the Love pedal Les Leas.
There is not a chance in hell that this guitar is in tune. It has definitely been on the wall for months.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
So I just want to see if it'll buzz. Yeah, see, it still buzzes. What the fuck's going on?
Did you? Oh my God, Justin.
So we're just going to put this down right now before we hurt ourselves.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, did you change like outlets or add any new electronics to your office or anything?
No, man. I'm using the same one spot as ever. Why am I getting hum all of a sudden?
That's very irritating.
It is. I'm going to have to diagnose this.
Well, anyway, it's not as bad as last time.
Probably because it's not as gainy. All right, so let's get rid of that reverb. Let's see what the speaker breakup knob does. So that's pretty low. Let's crank it up. That hum is bothering the hell out of me.
It's like compressing more.
So that's the reverb knob is all the way down.
I don't like that reverb sound very much.
Yeah, too much.
Well, it's just like not a great example of spring reverb, maybe. And it's weird how it's like relating to the drive.
It is. So now this is both the speaker breakup and reverb sound is all the way down. So with the reverb still down, as I bring up the drive, the reverb comes in.
Interesting.
I don't like the way this works. Yeah, if I can't get less reverb than that,
that's a lot. That's a lot, especially for like such an effecty reverb, you know?
Yeah, I don't have any use for this. Is it adding a lot of bottom to my guitar?
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
Jeez. I don't know what to make of this.
It's not like the best tweed sound I've ever heard. There's a lot of cool
Are tweeds supposed to be really bottomy? This isn't how I expected it to sound at all.
In my experience, like not that I've ever played like an actual tweed or anything like that, but I've the pedals that I've played that emulate that, they do have a lot of that like low mids and low end. So that's not unusual to me. The relationship of the drive to the reverb though is very unusual to me, and I don't really like how that's working.
So I wonder if I could scan here quickly. Yeah, they're not telling me a lot about this. One of the unique features of the Monkey Man is that you can hit the front end with everything you've got, overdrives and boosts or whatever, and you want it, and it compresses like an old tweed. Okay, so
I definitely get that compression.
I don't have anything I can easily put in front of it. No, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and the manual is not really that helpful. It just tells you what the nodes do.
I don't know. I mean, this is discontinued. Maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
I don't love not being able to, like, that's the minimum reverb that you can have with this pedal. I don't see how that's a thing. I don't know.
Interesting, because like
it's a mix of compression and kind of like that saturaty low end EQ thing could be cool, but mixing it with the reverb makes it messy in a way that I can't justify.
Yes, I agree. That's kind of surprising. I mean, J-Rocket makes good pedals. They make the Archer, which is one of the most coveted clones there is. Like, I trust them as a pedal manufacturer, but it's discontinued, and maybe that's why. I don't know. It doesn't matter why. But yeah, they can't all be winners, folks. Some days you get a broadcast. Some days you get a Monkey Man or whatever. What is it? Monkey Man.
Yeah, it is Monkey Man. That's correct.
Eric says it's too specific. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that what they've created here is exactly what they meant to. Yeah, but it's just
remember
not.
though, like for a while, like everybody was making tweed style pedals. Even Boss made one, right? And there was the Les Leas. There was the other Love pedal one. There was the Cattle and Bread made one, the 5F6 or something like that. I don't know. It's meh.
Yeah. And apparently I need to keep hunting the hum in my sound here. I need to get out some other pedals, I guess. I tried I tried removing if I removed the pedals from the signal, I didn't get any hum.
You know what you need to do sometime just for science.
Yeah.
Is share the tube drive with us. I don't know if we've been over the tube drive on the tone control.
Do you want to see it right now?
In any recent time. Certainly since we've been in Discord. I don't know if people really know about this pedal.
Do you know about the tube drive?
Yeah.
Let's see about the tube drive.
The Effectrode tube drive, everybody, if you're not familiar. Just an absolute unit of a pedal. Look at this son of a bitch. Oh, Eric's? Oh, he doesn't have his headphones on. Stand by. So I remember the pedal that predated this one on Justin's board was a Hot Chili Tubester, and which I think he told me was okay.
What was the coming back on?
What was the Hot Chili Tubester? Was that like a DS1 circuit with better parts?
I don't know.
I remember you talking about that at some point.
So the Hot Chili Tubester is a guy I knew who was a tube amp builder turned me on to that because he said it was the only pedal at the time that ever impressed him as far as being a true tube preamp design.
Okay.
In that it provided the tube with a proper B+ voltage. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just one of these like cosmetic tubes where they're feeding the tube like 12 volts and it's really just there and there's glass in it and so the Hot Chili Tubester had no, like you couldn't see the tube in it. It wasn't just there for looks. And it had a proper like 300 volts on the inside of it. It wouldn't run on a pedal supply. It had like an AC plug that you had to feed into it.
So that crapped out on you. And
it started to fail. Yeah, it got a ton of hum, and we took it all apart. It was gooped, I tried to have some people fix it, and no matter how much goop we cut away, we couldn't really figure out what parts are wrong. We basically changed out every part of its power supply, all the capacitors and everything, trying to figure out which filter cap was broken or something, and we never got it fixed. So I gave up, and I started looking for another tube pedal. Because I really wasn't satisfied with something else. I really wanted that. And I tried some other things, but eventually enter Effectrode. So this was a wildly expensive buy at the time. It's funny because that picture, I think he's changed his box designs.
I think so. It looks wider and flatter.
Like mine's like deeper and not as spread out.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a proper guitar amp front end. As you can see, there are 3 tubes in here. 2 of them are in the preamp stage, and one of them is the tone stack. And he's recommending AX7s for the preamps and an AT7 for the tone stack. I can't even remember. I might. So I played around a lot with different tubes in here.
So what's funny is like it's 339.
I have ECC 81. I have a JJ in where the 12A T7 is supposed to go, and the other ones are Mullards, which I really liked.
I have one of those in
they're very aggressive.
Crisp.
They're crisp, yeah.
So
tight.
That's currently 339 pounds sterling, which is $460 US.
I think I paid $400, so I think it may have gone up a little bit. It requires a special power supply. He ships it with a special 12 volt DC that is a high current 12 volt. So he's upping internally inside the pedal to get the proper 300 volts. So you feed it 12 volts, but it's like a 1.5 amp power supply that you're feeding it with. So if you can't do it with like a regular, you can't do it with 12 volt from your from the other whatever you have on your board already, it won't work. And he sells power supplies as well.
He sells all kinds of pedals. He's got a tube trem.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Blackbird.
The Blackbird, which came after I bought this, I probably would have gone for the Blackbird at the time, which is a proper. It's like a whole 2-channel amp. Right in front of you with. But anyway, so if this hums like crazy, then we've got so anyway. I think I switched around my shit. To plug this cable. Plug a cable.
I remember kind of being on the search for overdrives and distortion pedals and stuff, and then I sent you the Pro Guitar Shop at the time demo for the tube drive, and it was like, oh no, this is it.
And I was like, damn it, because now I know I'm going to have to spend this much money. So here we are again. Let's turn it on. Oh, it's not humming.
It still sounds awesome.
So everything's at noon. So this isn't like a wild high gain pedal or anything, but basically you juice the volume a little bit. It's got a toggle switch along the top that's kind of a bass boost, but it's doing it in a different way. I typically leave it on for the kind of sound that I'm usually after, but so volume, tone, drive, that's all we got. So obviously
that's all you need, motherfucker.
So if I pull the tone way back, like it doesn't pull it into mud territory. It's really just controlling the harshness, and that I find works with any amp. Like you plug it into an amp, find where the tone on this pedal needs to be, and it's just going to drive it. And you find that that like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock sort of zone for the output. That's it. Okay, so minimum gain. So we hear that it is the pedal's doing something compared to clean. Turn it on. So we've got a little, that's like sort of what the tone stack is doing here. And it's kind of mid-focused and a little bit. And then as I start to bring up the gain to, a little 2/3 up. About to noon. Yeah. So if I max it out, it's a little
much. Yeah.
It's a little much, but it's not. It doesn't go into total flub territory.
Yeah.
And this is my Telecaster too. I mean,
it's a really sonically rich distortion.
Yeah. It's I just don't I don't think
it's great.
I feel like if I had it all to do over again, like I could have come up with something like, some of these other drives, I might have been satisfied with like a proper, like just a regular old like drive pedal. But this thing is sort of a different animal for some reason.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of developments in overdrives between when you bought that and today.
Sure.
So there's a lot more out there.
The Plimsoll was around back then.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. The OCD definitely was. If not, the Plimsoll was certainly. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah. Geez, I don't know.
And those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking of could have gotten me into that territory. Like I wanted something that would like react properly to a palm mute, even though I was playing a Telecaster. But not, and it doesn't need to sound like a Mesa Boogie amp or something.
Right.
And it's really, it's that like, it's almost out of control, but it sounds a little bit higher gain than it is, whereas like truly high gain sounds are controlled by when they get to that point because they have to be precise. And it was that like, I didn't need to go there. I needed to go to just high enough gain that was like, whoa, it just sounded loud.
Rich and full and saturated and very cool. Cool, man.
Yeah, that's one you don't get rid of.
No. Well, thanks to Pedal Genie for sponsoring the Tone Control, as always.
Yeah, and I got to
Appreciate
figure
it,
out
yeah.
what the hell's going on with all the hum, because that's 2 in a row. That's uncanny.
Yeah, plug it in. Oh, I was gonna say try to plug it in the house or something and see if it's like.
Well, I got to plug it into some other amps
Yeah.
tomorrow. Well, I'm not gonna have time tomorrow. I'll do.
Sure,
I'll,
yeah.
I will make sure. I will try this pedal out against one of those or both of them and see if I get weird hum out of that. Then I'll know something's up. But that's so weird to have 2 pedals in a row. That makes me think it's me.
All right. So we've got some questions from some listeners.
We do have some questions. Wait, I was gonna play a sound for this. I think.
Oh, okay.
Because this is technically another segment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is only the second time I've played. Okay.
Is that the Rainbow Machine?
No, you can tell because you can hear music in it.
Hungry Robot Borderland Light, it looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. That was a U demo,
don't-
I think, right?
it sounds like it probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job, Hungry. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Something just happened. What happened, man?
I don't know.
Okay,
We were talking,
forget
I
that.
don't know. Okay. So yeah, this is just heads up, guys. We're always taking questions from listeners. Like, don't wait for us to ask for questions, I guess,
Yeah.
if that's a thing. You want to know something? Email, Discord, the socials, whatever. Just send it in.
Yeah.
We're always looking for stuff like this. So
Apparently the comment was that I talked down about the Rainbow Machine. Yeah, I don't come at me. Like, I don't care.
it's a piece of garbage.
I don't know what that's for, but it's not music.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so
Okay.
questions. Yeah. So people fed us questions, and I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, so in Discord from Timmy S, is it worth having a computer interface for an instrument to record directly into your music software, or should one simply have a nice microphone and a speaker? And I think the question is maybe like a guitar amp cab situation.
Well, I think the question, the way Tim is wording this, betrays like there's sort of like an overarching nature of this question that is like the question is actually, what are you recording, and what is your instrument? So do I have an interface an interface for an instrument to record? It depends. Like, is my instrument a keyboard? Is my instrument
A guitar.
an acoustic guitar? If my instrument's an electric guitar, is it really just that, or is it a guitar and an amp? Because an electric guitar by itself is not a whole instrument, and that's
Right.
really the crux of what this question is, right?
Okay, good point. I was going to say, in the spirit of like centering this around guitar, I guess, because this is a guitar podcast, worth having a computer interface. I'm looking at my Focusrite Scarlett Solo here.
It's a tuba. Sorry. Well,
Timmy plays the tuba.
Everything needs a computer interface. You can't record without a computer interface.
Right,
So
so
it's not an
yeah.
either or. And I Timmy knows that. It's just
Right. So it's
know.
stuff like, we've talked a lot about things like HX Stomp, of course, and all the other modelers. You can use those as interfaces, right? Your computer
Right.
can hear that as a device, and you can record guitar straight into Logic or GarageBand or whatever else you're using. I do it all the time.
Because the amplifier is part of it. What HX
Exactly.
Stomp and devices like it are doing is they're combining the amplifier and additionally the effects and stuff like that and the interface.
Yes.
But it's not because you're not using one of those.
No,
right.
It's like I can go USB out of those devices into my computer,
Right.
and it'll hear that. Alternatively, I can do all that modeling. Or let's say I've got a microphone on a cabinet. I can run that into my desktop interface here, the Focusrite, and then run that into Logic. So it does need something to go from like the real world into my computer,
Right.
whether that's over USB through a...
And that's a DAC. That's like a digital audio converter. Like, so you can't record with a computer without one of those somewhere.
Right, because you do have a microphone, let's say, you need to plug that into something, and it can't just go into your computer somewhere because that doesn't have an XLR out on it,
Yeah.
or in on it rather. So
like
yeah.
when you're asking this question and you're thinking, so I happen to know some of what Tim's setup is like is that like I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an amp anywhere, but he's working with software amps. So he's working with something like a Jam or something like that. Like it's a guitar plug that is an interface essentially. Like the DAC is built into the guitar plug. So that's like as simple as it gets. The guitar is going straight in as a dry signal, and then the software is going to create the sound, and that's going to get recorded.
Plugins and whatever else. Yeah.
Right. And the only difference between that and HX Stomp is that the box itself is processing that audio into an amp-like sound and then sending that to the computer.
Right.
Before it gets to the computer, right?
Yeah. So like HX Stomp product type thing, Kemper, Axe all that stuff is doing the processing, and then your computer's just listening to it and recording it, what it hears, which is how I do stuff. If you were to get Helix Native or like the Neural plugins or any other sort of plug, like guitar amp plugin, your computer's processing that signal and doing that amp stuff as well as listening and recording.
And then the Jam is doing the same thing. It's receiving a dry guitar tone, and your computer's doing everything after the sound gets to the computer. But that the only reason that's different is you're not making the amplified guitar sound before it gets to the computer.
Yes.
And so like, you know, we've been talking a bunch about how, you know, modeling is kind of there now. You know, it's not really worth discussing anymore whether one is better than the other. If you have a particular amp that you like, you can put a microphone in front of it and record it. And if you don't, or if you just want the simplicity, you know, the Helix, the Fractal stuff, fantastic. Nobody is going to have any problem with any of that. We're really like on equal footing now with any of that. So you know, the question, should one simply have a nice mic and a speaker? Well, it's a little more complicated to do that in a sense.
Yeah, because if you have a speaker, you need a nice amp. You know, like you can go all the way down the line. So I think, like you said, it depends on the instrument for sure. It depends on what you want your workflow to be, I think. You know, it kind of, it's sort of, you're ending at the same destination of recorded music, and it's just what is going to be the easiest for you to get there. I don't have the means to play a loud guitar amp in this room and set it up with a mic and all that stuff. I mean, I could get there. I just don't really feel like it, partly because I have another solution already. You know, like it's easier
way
for
easier
me.
to use the Helix. And I mean,
it's easier to use the Helix.
Mic and try to do it.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? It might sound good.
Right. And I could just go buy a 57. That's the barrier to entry there is not a big deal. But it's still that whole thing of like the other convenience factors, right? If I dial up a tone on the Helix and I like it, I can record it, and then I can also go play it live.
And you can push save, right?
I can push save, and I can push send, and I can share it with friends. Like there's that whole thing. So different argument really. But
and then so then it's like, what's your instrument? And so my comment about this is like, if my instrument is a trumpet, then I need a microphone, and I'm going to find a microphone that sounds good on my trumpet. But if my instrument is a guitar, an electric guitar, if it's an acoustic guitar, then I'm going to find a microphone that works well for that, right? Because plugging in an acoustic guitar,
it sounds like a PVC pipe. It sounds terrible.
It's almost never going to work. Although I have this somewhat recent experience of my dad redid the pickup in his Taylor and somebody, in fact, it was Eric that we were looking at a couple he was comparing the Fishman to this other thing, and I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, is it LR Bags maybe?
Maybe he's typing. He's typing
furiously.
Was it, you know it. The Anthem. Yes. Okay. So he got the Anthem pickup system installed in his Taylor, and it's fucking brilliant. And I went over after he had this put in. So it's got.
I love to hear this.
It's got a microphone style transducer, and it's got a contact style transducer. And then there's a little turning wheel, like there's a little like dial. If you reach just inside the sound hole, you can turn it, and you're mixing between the two, and then that output feeds the thing. And I just like I messed with it a little bit, left it somewhere in the middle, and recorded it for a second. And I literally was like, you know, unless I had a super nice mic, this is the way to go. Like
Yeah.
it's that good. It's like almost good enough that like in some situations I wouldn't reach for an external microphone. And well, it's in a Taylor 914C, which is like it's a $3,000 guitar that you can't even get the wood for it anymore. And so now it's like insured for like way more than that because it's probably worth way more than that. And anyway, so it's a fucking brilliant guitar.
Yeah.
However, this pickup is doing things that pickups shouldn't be allowed to do. Okay, so
Pure magic,
so without that set aside, if your instrument isn't an electric guitar, then you probably need a microphone. Because you need somewhere to receive that sound. And if your instrument is an electric guitar, it's actually not just that; it's also an amp or whatever pedals you put in the chain. That combined is your instrument. And so if you're gonna do that in Helix, or if you're gonna do that in an amp, then you need a microphone. And so, but that whole thing is to be thought of as your instrument. And I think that gets to the core of the question.
Agreed. Good answer. Next question.
Yes, it is it's a Taylor 914C. Yes, and it has it's great. He's had it for a long time. It's quite a thing. Anyway, you basically can't I sound good when I play it. Like it's that good a guitar.
I've played it a few times. It's a showstopper.
Yeah,
it's a good one. And like physically beautiful too. It's
and
like
that
it's
Anthem
tons of all the
system
trim.
was something like half the cost of the equivalent Fishman system. And so that's why he was like, because one of them was like a lot more money. And Eric recommended the Anthem. He said he tried it and it was great. I was like, go for it.
That's great.
So my dad had his guy put it in and couldn't be happier. It's fantastic. Recommend.
Good. All right, next question from Jay Payne in Discord. What gear do I use in a multi-guitar band? I love this question. If a band member uses a single coil...
Your ears hurt. Okay, go on.
If a band member uses a single coil guitar to play a thing, then maybe I need to use a humbucker guitar to cover the other frequencies, sounds, and effects to accompany the single coil. And then the same question sort of applied to effects and pedals. Should I use effects that accompany the other players? I think this is an awesome question. And there was some follow-up conversation in the chat about if not the gear, then what you're playing, how should that differ from the other guitar player? And I think this is
I think that's more important, but I want to know what you think.
I agree that it's more important. The playing is more important, differentiating where you are on the neck, and the timbre of a C on the A string third fret is going to sound different than the eighth fret on the E string. They just have a different kind of quality to them. And then
so
if you're
playing, you can invert your chords if you want to make things fuller than just two guitars playing the same thing. Yeah. Right.
So and then you can reserve playing the same thing for dramatic effect. If you want in your songwriting.
It gives you another dynamic, yet another dynamic that you can
hit. Which Matt and I do sometimes, and it's really cool. And it's like, actually, I'm going to join you on that part and make it huge, and it sounds really cool. Right. So anyway, as far as the gear goes, I don't really focus a ton on well, if you're playing that guitar, then I'm going to play this guitar. I don't think about that because I build my tone around what I want to sound like a lot of the time, not just for well, this band needs this kind of tone or this song needs that kind of tone. I don't do that too much. So I'm probably not the greatest example for this. Matt's guitar has what are they called? They're like the Duncan pickups that have single coil P90 and humbucker all in one. They've got the little switches on the sides that you can move them around. And, so he's in between songs, he'll change, this is a P90 song, this is a humbucker song, and he'll kind of do that. I'm not messing with my gear that much. I'm more changing things like gain stages to achieve that different texture combined with the playing thing that we just talked about, and that usually gets me to where I need to be. However, I think if you're really going for a specific tone or the band needs a very specific sound, that might be something worth considering. Well, if you're playing single coils, maybe I should play humbuckers to fill it out, or P90s or something different.
Okay.
Because if you think about let's say you got two strats on stage, right, and they're both in the neck position or whatever, they're going to be different because just rigs are different and players are different and even guitars are different. But they're going to share so much of the same frequency range, right?
Yeah.
So What do you do about that? And is that a problem?
Right. And so it's actually that part of the way the question's worded, frequencies, like to cover those frequencies. Now, when you're changing single coil to humbuckers, I don't think of that as like a different frequency range or even complementary frequency ranges. It's really, that's about like output level and like how, to a certain extent, like the harmonics versus fundamentals of the string kind of zone. And I think those changes are very different. Like when I'm changing pickups on a guitar, it's because I want to hear more of the fundamental or I don't. Right? So if I'm using, if I want somebody to use the neck pickup, I'm going to be, how do I say this? It's because I'm wanting the clarity. I actually want to like reduce the rumble or something like that. So it's like, so something that's very strummy and dense, we need to use the neck pickup for. And then solos or whatever, even the heavy metal guys will be like, oh, we'll use neck for this. Except if it goes low, then I might switch them. And and I can do punch-ins and things like that. So I can be like, well, actually, we're just going to switch halfway through the solo. We're going to switch pickups without you having to do it because I like the sound of that better. But as far as like constructing the arrangement of a song, I wouldn't tell somebody, well, you should use the other pickup because they're using neck, so you should use bridge. No, like if it's a sort of part that needs, it's dense and thick and strummy and chordy, well, that probably needs to be bridge pickup because it needs to have less fundamental so that the clarity of the different notes can come through.
Now, would you say though, they're playing a humbucker guitar bridge, you should play a single coil guitar bridge, like the pickup position aside. Like let's talk about pickup construction. I would be,
because that would totally change my gain staging.
It would, yeah. That's what I mean.
And so that's really the thing. Like, so if I have, so if I'm building a mix, because this is why I wanted like you to like talk about playing on stage. I feel like it's a little bit different. I think to this extent, like if your gain staging is totally different one side of the stage to the other, and it's like if you're playing like hard rock and you need the gain, then you should be in the same range, or you're making up for that with whatever kind of drives or something like that so that we're in the right zone. You're just getting to the tone you want to get to. But if I'm in the studio and if I'm doing like a left and right for something, I will sometimes say like, well, let's actually use the other guitar. Let's pick up this other guitar for the, and it's not because let's pick up a single coil. It's probably just a different humbucker. Like we're doing metal or something and we're playing with like battery powered EMGs or some shit, then I'm still like, well, let's use the other guitar for the other side. Even if it's the same player, like that'll help. Even though they basically sound the same, there's a little bit more difference and that creates more width. Your ear hears that as like there's something different. And if I don't have that, then in the mix, I'll do things like I'll give a little bump at 3 kilohertz. And then in the other guitar, I'll do a reciprocal dip at 3 kilohertz.
Okay.
And so I'm creating this mirror, right? And that's just giving your ears something that makes it sound a little bit more different, even if it's not. And then that makes it sound like a little more spread out. But it's not changing. I'm not going like, well, let's play this on a single coil. If it's a heavy metal song, that would sound weird, or it wouldn't work at all, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, let's see, if you're talking about a multi-guitar band, I assume that the question is in the spirit of like we're writing and playing shows and recording and doing all that.
Right.
Would I need to use a need? No, absolutely not.
No.
But I think it really comes down to like what you think you want your band to sound like, I guess, and kind of like what you want your tone to be. If your tone for this project is your thing, or if it's just the tone for this project, like how are you thinking of it? You know, like for Delaney, my tone is my tone. Like it comes with me, and that's my core thing that I take with me. When we were working on one of our songs, it was like the only song on the EP, the closing track, had a really different sort of aesthetic to it. And we were like, it turned into like, I need to use my Strat for this. And I don't play the Strat for the band. When I joined Delaney, I was like, this is going to be a humbucker band for me just because I kind of want to, right? I just
And
want
the band's
to.
in a tuning, so some of the guitars went to that tuning.
Yeah, and the Strat was still in standard. Luckily, the song is capo 1 for us in E flat, so it worked out really well. So
I love that.
yeah, it's just don't get me started on that whole thing. But it was like, oh, I really need that 2 position on a Strat sound. Like that would work really well for this song. And I pulled that guitar out of the closet basically just because this song kind of demanded it.
Yeah.
And I don't do it live. I don't really bring the Strat to practice. I don't use it for that because it's set up for standard and we're not in standard. But anyway,
yeah, but that song's capo 1, Derek.
I can bring 2 guitars to practice and just for one song.
Well,
So anyway,
just tune everything one step lower and capo everything capo,
Capo
1. Except for that song would be capo 2, of course. Then.
oh, and then see, then what you do is
So you look at Matt and you're like, bump.
So here's a wild thing.
fret.
I'm in
Sucker.
standard. I'm in E flat standard capo 1 for that song, and he's in drop D capo 3.
Okay. So he's just
We're all over the place.
it's just who cares?
Who cares?
Fuck it.
So anyway, it's the same question about effects. I think
It's like, was that a wrong note you just played? I don't know.
doesn't matter. What key are we in? Who cares?
What even is a wrong note now?
Are we in the key of H? So I mean, anyway with the gear. Like, do you need different pedals to accompany? I don't really know. I think depends on the part I think you're writing, and it depends on like what the other guy is doing. And I think this is maybe an exercise in like the songwriting component too, and like call and response. And maybe like if this guy's got like this really like fluid, high gain, reverby lead thing, maybe you want a more staccato dotted eighth note delay thing that's contrasting with that. And like, that's just about the parts though. I don't think you need to decide like I'm building a board around this.
And I notice you use the word maybe. And so this is like, so now I'm going to like, let's refocus just a little bit, because ultimately the answer to the question is like, for us, we are not trying to build anything based on it being a reciprocal or filling any hole that was left by the other thing. It's really dictated by sort of the song and what you think sounds cool. And then I have this other layer of like when I'm working on a song and creating a recording of that song, I sometimes do things that aren't done in a live setting or in a band practice setting. But that doesn't mean that they need to be done or that they would even sound better in a live setting. It's just something that I'm doing that's a little bit of a sort of a trick. But I will say, like, final answer to this question, I have never thought about any song that I've been a part of working on or writing or performing and learning or recording where I've thought, oh, well, you're playing that with a humbucker. Let's get some other flavor in here. Give me that Strat. It's more like, well, hold on. Actually, let's change to the other guitar just for a slightly different space, but not in a way that you can hear. I actually am not trying to create a sound that the audience goes, oh, the left channel sounds different than the right. It's an impression of difference that your brain subconsciously interprets. It's way more subtle than that. And it's not like, should I go single coil? Well, only if we crank up like if the other guitarist brought in a single coil compared to an active pickup situation, and I'd be like, oh shit, well, we gotta find a tube screamer. We got to do something to get the gain back up into the right range, or everything's going to sound imbalanced. And I don't like that in a recording unless it was built into the arrangement of the song. So if the band was creating the arrangement and one guitarist was playing a thick, high gain sound that was made out of humbucker pickups, and then the other one was something totally different that was made out of single coils, that's fine. But if they're trying to play the same riff and it's supposed to be two sides, that's not going to work.
Right.
It's going to sound bonkers.
Yes.
We'll make up for it some other way, with more gain or something.
I hope this answers your question a little bit. I think, you got to do a little like self-exploration, right? Like why is it for the pure like sonic coverage, or is it for the parts of the song? I hope the answer is actually the parts of the song, because that's a different thing. And now you said like,
and I hope that answer sets you free, right? Because if you're worried, like, am I missing something? No,
There's no rule. No.
Do whatever do whatever makes the song sound cool. Like
right. And I think like when I've done like the more heavily produced demos that we do occasionally where I've got multiple guitar tracks happening, if I want it to sound big and fat and full, I'm using 2 different guitars. And even though I'm doubling it, 2 different guitars, because that's the thing, like Justin's saying, it widens it all. It gives you just a little extra texture in ways that you can't really identify. And it works perfectly. Like it's great. So the Tombstone demo that's up on our channel, which you can click to, is a good example of this, I think. I used a Telecaster and a Les Paul, 2 sides of a spectrum, right? And it sounds really great.
Did you tweak the pedal for the guitars?
Yeah, because I used this
and so that's the thing. So you weren't just letting the guitars do whatever they're going to do. Yeah. You adjusted the pedal to make them sound balanced as 2 different sides.
Right. So now you were saying like you wouldn't look at a guitarist and be like, well, you're using a single coil, so I'm going to grab a humbucker guitar. No, but I would look at a guitarist and say like, well, you're playing this like cowboy chord open C. I'm going to play a C up here. Like I'm going to like borrow my caged method theory thing, or I'm going to like seek an inversion, right? To just give that, maybe we're both playing C or C chords, but we're kind of switching it up a little bit. So there's a little more interest going on. And like we said at the beginning of this conversation, that allows you to then sort of come back together to play the same riff, exactly the same, and have that as an effect, as a choice.
So you're both playing C, but now you're both playing C like this, and that's a different dynamic. And you've given yourself another weapon. There's another knife in your case.
Yeah. So there is no right answer to this. It's just sort of what works. Do it. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, shit, man. Shit.
All right. We've gone on super long. Let's wrap 2 Drink Tuesday, because my drink's done, by the way.
Oh, mine too.
Let's wrap 2 Drink Tuesday with some suggestions of the week.
I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know any of these anymore. You're going with the deep cuts.
This is JHS Bonsai. Did I not play this on an episode sort of recently?
JHS Bonsai, that's the one you just had that was buzzy as hell.
Well, guess what? You had it before me and apparently recorded a demo of it. Because I have a demo on my hard drive.
That's great. Love it. Love it. You don't need 9 Tube Screamers, folks. Okay.
I was like, I recognize that name, JHS Bonsai. I must have played that recently. Oh, well, I can't remember. I'm putting it in the show anyway.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Suggestions of the week. Apparently, this isn't guitar stuff. Finally, we're getting to the not guitar shit.
Finally, we're getting to the good stuff. All right, my suggestion is a board game, a 2-player board game called Cairn. It is tactical duels between tribal shamans on an evolving board. And I put a link in the notes. There you go. This is the Board Game Geek page. So this is the game that we were texting you and your wife about. Like I adore this game. I love it. And Beth hates it because she's not very good at it. But I'm like really into it, really into it. So it's like a 5x5 grid. You've got, I think 6 pieces, maybe 5 pieces. And, You're sort of like
images. Here we go.
It looks like 5. So you're kind of like playing for advantage on the board. But what's interesting is that when you move a character, you change the move conditions for the next turn, and you can move your character 1 square, and that square might be up, down, left, right, or it could be diagonally, right? So you can move orthogonally or diagonally. And if I move my character diagonally, I flip a little tile over, and that means the next person who moves a character has to move it orthogonally. And then every time you move, that tile flips, directing the next turn. And so you have 3 turn options, three move options on your turn, and you have to execute it in the way that the board dictates. And that is flipped every time someone does the thing. So you can like move players, you can jump players, and then you can like put a new player on the board. And you don't get points by like defeating other players and stuff, but you need to get players in certain positions to trigger point gaining. So it's very clever, and it's a whole string of, well, if I move here, then that means he has to move this way. But if I don't move here, that means he is allowed to move this way, which could put me at risk. And there's a lot of if this, then that. And you do it like 5 turns out. But what's great is the game is only
shit.
It's awesome. And the game is only like 20 minutes long. It's very short. And so you can play like 2 or 3 games in no time. And they're all really different. They all feel really different. And so then you're also introducing they're called the monoliths, which are these, like, you can see them on the board there. They're like the circular tile that drops down.
Okay. Sure.
That like modifies that space, so it might move. It might teleport a character. Yeah, it could teleport a character. It could eliminate an opponent. It could just all these different variables. So it's awesome. I love it. It's simple mechanics.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm explaining it well. But like you can jump characters, right? So it could be the tile says I have to jump over my own player. So I do that and I flip it. Then the tile says that if Justin wants to jump, he has to jump over an opposing player. And the board may not be set up for that.
Right. And so you may have just fucked me over.
Which means you can't jump, right? Like, you just can't. And it's very, very clever design. Very clever.
I can tell right now, like, this is exactly the sort of thing that will bring my wife's brilliant mind to its knees. Like, this is exactly, like, this is the exact jigsaw puzzle piece that does not mate with her being. Like, this will never, like, she will never be able to do this in a way. Like, it's the physical space and shape reasoning combined with and you have to plan this many moves. Like the idea of chess.
It's very much that sort of planning ahead.
It's that, right? And that's unfathomable. Like, to be able to think moves ahead and consider the possibilities and decide what you're going to do based on that. She's like, nope, I'm going to go research ancient languages or something. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's fun because you do have to plan ahead like that, but then the next player's move could destroy your plans. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. You only play to 3 points, which is great. So the turnover is very fast. And it's just a small little game. It's not a huge complicated thing. I love it. I absolutely adore this game. So it's called Cairn.
That looks awesome. I really highly doubt I would ever be able to get it inside of my house.
Well, when you're here for one night, we can play around.
Listen, my first wife is a brilliant person. This is not in her skill set. Like, and she knows it.
What's great too is like, because you're kind of watching what the opposing player does to create the win condition for you. And you're like, well, they can only move here.
How can I force them? Because in a game like this, you're playing your opponent's moves.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. And that's the thing about chess. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you people who think they don't understand chess, it's because they're trying to play their own pieces. And you're not. You're trying to push the other player.
But the clever thing about this game is that it's not the pieces that hold the power. It's the move conditions that do.
Right. So create the conditions, right? You're trying to push your opponent with the conditions that whatever you can do to influence them.
All your figurines on the board, they all work the same. Like they have different artwork and stuff on. They have different sculpted designs, but they operate all the same way. It's what the board tells you how you have to move that player, though, which is, I think it's so well done.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, so I don't have anything nearly so fantastic but so I had a moment earlier today, and I posted in Discord because I was sitting there slurping my coffee,
as you do,
and my wife hates when I slurp my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she accepts when I slurp my coffee. She hates slurping, and we have an agreement that coffee is the only thing I'm allowed to slurp.
And what about like a hot soup?
Well, see, here's the thing. The rules rarely stop me from slurping things.
Okay.
But she does, like, that's not in the, she tries to come down at me. And I'm like, But so slurping, like, so you know, when I'm taking a drink, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now I was thinking, like, I think this makes my coffee taste better. Like, that's why I do this. I'm not just doing it to be an irritating pain in the ass. It's a side benefit, but it's not the reason that I do it. Right?
Knock-on effect, sure.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. It increases my happiness and makes the world better around me. Absolutely. But it's not the main reason I'm doing it. So I said, like, do you guys slurp your coffee? So people start chatting, and I think it makes slurping makes your coffee taste better. I have this theory that, maybe I'm changing the way it tastes because of the air and then Derek bombs me with like 7 messages of fucking research papers that have already been written about this, which, by the way, prove my point. But apparently I can't do my PhD on this because it's already been done. So anyway, the point, and then, of course, discussion continued. Some people are very anti-slurp.
I'm not. It depends
question
on
your humanity. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how aware I am of one's slurpage, I guess. Like, if it's more like, when you start to notice something that's annoying you, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's annoying me. And then it keeps happening, like, oh my God, it's really annoying. Like, if I got to that stage, like, then we might have a problem. But it would be the first, like, someone would have to say to me, are you noticing how much this guy's slurping his coffee?
Right. Okay.
So I wouldn't get there on my own. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't actively slurp it. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm very subconsciously. I don't know.
Maybe
if I do, I don't know.
Or maybe you've worked out a way. I don't know. So I also have, and I think this predisposes me to the job that I have, but I have the superpower of not being able to be annoyed by a sound, repetitive or otherwise. And I think that's because, like, it is either because or the reason. It either causes or is affected by the fact that I can work on music and like listen to a single snare drum hit over and over again for like an hour, and I don't die from that. Whereas my wife will come in and I'm working on something and I have like one measure of a song looped, and she can't be in here for more than 10 seconds. Right.
I mean, I have a higher threshold than that, but yeah.
Right. If I'm tapping on a table, like we're playing some game and I'm just going to town on the table or whatever, because I'm just whatever. Yeah. I'm just, the ADD kid is tapping on the table. No one's surprised. So but it's like, can you stop so I can think about my next move in this game we're trying to play, or we'll never get anywhere. That's where we're coming from when she says don't slurp, right? It's noises and things in the world bother her. Now I don't have that.
It must be
I'm not trying to like, I feel bad for her for having that.
Sure.
And so I try to adjust, but at the same time, what I'm saying is slurping is fucking great and I should be allowed to do it.
Here's all this science proving me right. Yeah.
Fucking science.
Yeah. So do you think the slurp enters her brain and it's like a record scratch?
I picture it like she's trying to concentrate on something, and whatever I do, if I'm tapping on the table or if I'm slurping, it's like a strobe light suddenly is going off in her face and she can't see the thing she's trying to look at.
Oh, no.
And for me, like, somebody can be making a sound near me and I can still do whatever I'm doing. And I wonder, like, because like I grew up in this world of like, oh, we're starting to diagnose kids with ADD and we're medicating them somewhat. And I had some of that when I was in school grades and stuff. And I don't think I was as severe as some of these people with like a lot of hyperactivity and stuff like that. So I think I got off a little bit easy, but I also feel like there's something about the difference in a person with ADD, their brain, my brain, it's not just that I'm distractible. It's also that like, I feel like I'm used to being distractible. So when I am distracted, it honestly doesn't bother me. It's like I can switch and come back.
Yeah.
And there is still a threshold, right? There's a point where I'm trying to concentrate on typing an email or something. And if my daughter asks me a question and it's like, that's the language part of my brain. I can't hear you and listen to you and work on this email because they're both language. But I can play music and do anything else. And if my wife's trying to concentrate on something, she might not want music on. She might not be able to have music on.
So that's a really interesting point, because I'm here at work in this office and I'm alone and I can listen to music as loud as I want and stuff. Yeah. And it's really interesting. I've not found a pattern, but some days I can't listen to music, or some tasks I can't listen to music while doing, and others it's totally fine. And I don't know what it is. And I think it's just, it depends on the amount of focus required from me at the time. I don't know. It's very bizarre because some days I'm like, oh, I'm just going to put on, just shuffle, whatever. Like, here's a playlist. Cool. And I'll be great all day. And then other times it's like, wow, I need it to be as quiet as possible. And I've got a white noise app that does me a lot of good for those days. Right. So it's crazy.
Well, excuse me, I'm like burping. Anyway, the Two Drink Tuesday, the most biological things, but brains especially, like these things are all a gradient.
Yeah.
So we're just somewhere on that spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic case of like, can you turn the volume down? I need to see where I'm going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, in the car. And anytime...
And it's really about concentration and focus. But I've done that. I've totally done that. We've all done it. And it's that way at work for me is what I'm saying. So if I need that intense, like, I just need to really make sure I say this thing correctly in this email, I'm going to pause my music and finish that and then put it back on. Get back to whatever I was doing.
Now that's very interesting because Marielle will do that. Like the music has to stop if she's needing to follow directions or something, and then it can come back on later. For me, it does not matter how loud or irritating the music is. It will not even penetrate my ears. If I have to like concentrate on directions, I suddenly become like this hyper-focused creature. Like I will literally not even know what I'm hearing. It's like suddenly I'm like, wait, did we listen to that song? Oh, that must have been while I was following directions because I utterly paid no attention.
I can be that way about some things and just not about others. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Our brains fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We should end this show.
Okay. We should end this. We've been going for, God, we're going to get close to 2 hours here soon.
Holy shit.
Okay. Well, listen, let's do the quick sign-offs. Should I scan down to the... So are you going to copy? Are you going to copy it up for me?
I'll copy them up, yeah.
He's copying up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start the ending theme. Okay, so thank you all for listening / watching The Tone Control. And we would love to have you join us in Discord. You can go to discord.io/tone control to do that. What's funny?
The chat, I'm sorry.
Oh, what happened? What'd I do?
We got a name change.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so go to discord.io/tone control to join us in Discord. It's totally free and super fun. And for episode 200, anybody, regardless of supporter status, is going to be able to join us for the live recording of episode 200, which is going to be just in 4 weeks from now. To see us on Patreon, patreon.com/thetonecontrol. To become a supporter for just $1 a month, we will thank you greatly for supporting the show, and we'll read your name out on every episode. And for as little as $2 or more per month, you'll be a supporter plus, or as we call them in Discord, the Royal We. And they get to join us in the secret part of Discord for the live chat and heckling us and sending absolutely unwatchable, unlook-awayable gifts.
It's happening to you right now.
It's happening to me right now. I'm literally getting distracted by things, and I'm going to have to play the ending theme again because it went too long. So our supporters this week are Carson Ricketts, Nick Greenwood, Timmy S., Matthew Fenslaw, Ryson Wolf, Jamie Evans, Jeffrey Wright, Doug King, Doug Gann, Righteous Ryan Johnson, Steve Huffman, Jonas Sabatini, Catalee Portman, Andrew Walsh from Andrew's Alcove, OG friend of the show, Brian Rizzi, Doug Grist of 37 Effects, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects, and Brian Gower and Kyle McIntyre of the Tone Jerks podcast. Thank you all for supporting and for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye. Here we go.